Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, we're going to react to what is it like to visit America as an American. So this is from the perspective of an American who's lived abroad for a long time. Enough time that I guess you never forget what it's like to live in America, but if you spend enough time away, it must sort of become, I don't know, like a little bit sort of different in terms of like you're used to your new country that you live in. So it's going to be fun to see what he makes of it, you know, because it's by Evan Deniger. He lives in the UK. I think he's lived here for quite some time, maybe 5-10 years or something like that. So it's going to be fun just to see how he sees America now.
Oh, sorry, mate. I was late. The bus time. How are you?
It's lost in the pond as well.
This is Evan Edinger, right?
Edinger.
Well, we're off to a great start.
And this video is sponsored by Mondly, who are offering 96% off lifetime access at mondly.app/lostinthepond.
So, Evan, I think, is sort of the reverse of me.
I'm the inverse lost in the pond. I'm the found in the pond.
Because you were born in the United States, but moved to London.
Yes.
And I left London and moved to the United States. How long have you lived in Britain?
I've lived now for 12 years. 12 years and 2 months.
Now, as somebody myself who did grow up in Britain but moved to the US, I actually never went back to Britain for about 11 years, and when I did, I found that there were a lot of kind of either culture shocks or things that I perceived to have changed. Now that you're here in the US...
Wow, so he spent 11 years in America without visiting the UK once. Wow.
Visiting, and whenever you do get the chance to visit the US, I want to get your insight into what it's like as an American visiting America. So you've been on the road. You started out, in New Jersey?
Yes.
Which is where you're from?
Yeah.
Firstly, when you come here and you get behind the wheel of a car for the first time in
and it's on the other side,
years or whatever.
Yeah, actually.
Is there a kind of process that you have to go through in order to get used to it?
Weirdly enough, because I grew up in America, driving is like a way of life.
Yeah.
So I've been driving since the age of 16, 17. And even though I moved at the age of 22, those formative years from 16 to 22, I just know as soon as I get behind a wheel. However, that being said, as I was driving my partner around and talking about how, yeah, you know, these days I'm mostly just cycling in London, and that means I'm on the left side of the road, I turned right into the left side of the road.
Right.
And my partner just goes, wrong side.
Well, that's good to know. And so, since you drove from New Jersey to Chicago, that's what, 800 miles?
Yeah, it was at least 1,000 kilometers.
Having lived in Britain as long as you have, where 800 miles, you can barely drive that far and not go into the sea.
I actually used Britain as a context because I was thinking, I'm driving from South Jersey all the way to Chicago, and if I drove for like, 10, 11 hours from London north, I'd pretty much be out of the sky, wouldn't I? Like, I'd be out of the country. Yeah. And yet, if you look on a map of the US, there's so much more.
But did you get to like Pennsylvania and just think, oh, screw this, I want to go and stop at a truck stop for the night?
No, I consider sleeping in my car just to save money, but no.
Honestly, the distances Americans drive it blows my mind. You know, I remember reading a comment section of one of my videos when I said that 3 hours was a really long drive. It was one of the longest drives I've done in the UK. And somebody said, oh, that's like my commute. I drive 3 hours to get to work. I was like, what? What?
No, I ended up stopping in Pittsburgh, and I found it a beautiful city. I really wasn't expecting to like Pittsburgh as much as I did. And then ended up going to Akron, Ohio.
Beautiful, so romantic.
So incredible. The Comfort Inn was sweet.
Now, the language barrier that Evan and I face is minuscule compared to the millions who have to learn a second language. So wouldn't it be nice if we had an app that helped us do just that? We do. It's quizzes. To jump on the sale, go to mondly.app/lostinthepond. The link is in my description below.
And
At this point, our cameras were almost compromised by strong wind, and not the kind you get from eating too much White Castle.
Chicago, the Windy City.
Is Britain as windy as this?
You know what? The area in which I live in East London is the windiest part I've ever lived in. It's insane. There's so much wind that we get told by the developers, please don't put anything outside in your balconies, it's too windy.
Wow, so yes.
He probably lives in like a high-rise, maybe, like a high-rise apartment.
Yeah, I would say
right. You can just stick to one-word answers and we'll just do a
video. Yes.
As the leaves continue to bombard our faces, seemingly nothing could stop Evan from embarking on a seasonally appropriate hot take.
Autumn in America is so much better than autumn in England.
Saying this just yesterday.
And it's not just certain pockets. New Jersey was just orange everywhere, like so many vibrant oranges and yellows and reds. And then I drove through Pennsylvania, same thing.
Appalachia.
Oh, exactly. Beautiful. I feel like in England, you have to go out of your way to a place that has pockets of pretty trees. It's mostly just different shades of brown.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's true. It's actually true. You'd have to go somewhere like the Lake District or the Peak District, you know, to see really, really beautiful like areas. Maybe near Mount Snowdon. We do have them, but nowhere near as much as the US.
And also there tends to be more drizzle, I think, during autumn in Britain.
Which kind of ruins the tree leaves because they fall off quickly before they even get to be nice colors.
And the thing to add is, even despite mass deforestation in this country, there's still way more trees in the eastern US than most of Britain per square mile.
Yep.
When discussing the weather earlier, I forgot to add that this was shot on an unseasonably warm day around Halloween. Because of this, I was concerned that Evan might think that Midwestern autumns are always in the low 70s.
The Midwest is way nicer than I expected it to be.
It's beautiful, but again, it's not normal, this.
No, I meant like the cities. Not just the weather. I was just so impressed because as an East Coast guy who spent a lot of time on the West Coast as well, never touched the middle, I just thought it would be full of, you know, nothingness. I feel like that's how the media portrays the Midwest, but I've loved every minute. As the topic of this is American visiting, it has kind of felt like I'm visiting a foreign country. Whoa, I'm seeing it more from a British eye than an American one.
What kind of stereotypes do you hear about the Midwest?
Every male has a photo of themselves holding a fish.
Yeah, I've not been there myself, which proves that I haven't quite become full Midwestern, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like if you've ever watched Gus Johnson's content, he's from...
I also heard that a lot of guys from the Midwest have a Bass Pro Shops hat. I think Bass Pro Shops is like an outdoorsy type brand, isn't it?
Wisconsin. Every little stereotype he plays into, that like accent from, what's that film, Coen Brothers? Fargo. Yeah. I just associated everyone as Fargo. No, also the Midwestern goodbye, you know, taking really long time to say goodbye.
And all the guys have like a flannel shirt.
But from my limited experience traveling through, I would say the Midwest is like the north of England.
Yeah.
People talk to you, people are nice, people are just inquisitive and polite. I'm so used to the New Jersey and London experience of...
Yeah. The
mate,
kind of...
I wasn't talking.
Yeah, shut up kind of
Shut
thing.
up, mate.
Yeah.
And here, people are just like, hey, what are you doing? I literally asked a question to a guy on the subway in Chicago yesterday.
There are friendly people in London. I've lived in London pretty much all my life. And, you know, once you're known in an area, you go into the store, they'll have a chat with you. Like
today, we ended up just chatting for like 20 minutes. I would never do that in London. I'd be like, mate, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think for me, as someone who grew up in the UK, I have that problem. I've pointed that out before. Sometimes I'll just be walking through Lincoln Park and someone will sort of like look at me with a smile on their face, and I think that's creepy. But they're intending it, you know, in a nice way. Yeah, obviously,
it's such a stereotype for Americans to just be more talkative and friendly. And as someone who does Reddit content on that all the time, I always go, are they really? But maybe it's because my experience has been so East Coast and California centric that I've been like, that's not true. But the people in the middle America, I do feel like, are genuinely that nice.
I have some good news for you. We don't have any Starbucks coffee in this bag. You were talking a minute ago about how the Midwest is sort of similar to the north of England in some ways, in that mentality. I kind of agree with that.
Is the Midwest and the South of America quite similar in terms of that friendliness, openness, willingness to have a chat sort of thing? Because it sounds like a lot of the stuff they're saying about the Midwest, I've also heard about the South.
I think one thing that encapsulates that is our love of food. Specifically, I'm thinking pies for some reason right now. It's probably because I'm hungry. While we're on the subject of food, when I went back to Britain, I didn't know it yet until I got there, but there were certain foods that I had to have because you can't get them in the US. What's the one thing, I would ask, that is the reverse of that for you, that you cannot get in Britain, but you have to have in the US?
It's weird because a lot of the stuff that I can't get in the UK that I miss, I do get when I arrive here, and it's one of those things that's not Moorish. You just want it once to fill a hole, and then afterwards you're like, I'm done. So when I visited the States 2 months ago, I took my girlfriend around to have like all the pizzas, all the ice creams, all the fried foods. And then when I've come this time, I've been walking around like, yeah, guys got any fruit? No? This restaurant has...
You got any fruit? You got any water?
No fruit. So to answer your question more specifically, I mean, I guess personally it is soft serve ice cream. I know I just recently have talked about this, but I love American soft serve ice cream. It's so creamy, it's so delicious, so unique. And the UK just doesn't have as good of soft serve ice cream.
That's good to know. So you like sweet stuff?
I do. I have a sweet tooth.
Brilliant. So we have here a bag because the United States, it likes to experiment with just weirdly branded things. And also, it's the time of year.
Oh yes, it's Halloween soon.
Pumpkin spice this.
Oh.
Now, question.
I have never tried pumpkin or pumpkin spiced lattes, pumpkin coffee. I've not tried anything pumpkin flavored. Am I missing out, guys?
Has the pumpkin spice phenomenon made it over to Britain?
Only
No.
at Starbucks. I feel like it's very much just not caught
agree.
on except Starbucks.
I have some good news for you. We don't
Is it
have
good, though?
any Starbucks coffee in this bag, but what we do have is some pumpkin spice Oreos.
No, you read that wrong. It's actually pumpkin spice flavor cream.
Flavor cream.
Naturally and artificially flavored.
You know, I gave up added sugar. I'm not going to eat this with you. I am going to put you through the hell of trying one of these.
I actually really like pumpkin spice as a flavor.
Oh, you
I know
are.
I'm a basic boy.
You're obviously in for a treat then.
The US has over 200 varieties of...
Look at this. It's like my cat hovering around me at dinner time.
It's just me,
You
and
try
I
that.
like pumpkin spice
I'll let
too,
you grab
so-
your own and let me know what you think of these things.
Oh, the smell is amazing.
I need to try it, man. I'm going to try and find some today.
It smells like a Bath & Body Works candle. That's lovely.
It's just crunching in my ear.
That's so nice.
So you
It's
like
so
that?
good.
I thought this would be torture for anyone. It is for me if that's near me.
I wouldn't want any more.
I'm going to give you the whole.
Oh, lovely. To my girlfriend.
Yeah, indeed. And if you want to wash it down, we have. This is unbelievable. This is.
Oh!
This is zero sugar, right? So that firstly, it's healthy for you, and it's Oreo flavored Coca-Cola.
My girlfriend saw this the other day at the airport.
Oreo flavored Coca-Cola. Wow. Yeah, I've never seen that. This must be like an American exclusive flavor. The only sort of flavors of Coke we have here are like vanilla Coke, cherry flavored Coke. That's largely Coke Zero, but everybody's got that.
And I went, please tell me you tried it. And she said, no, I'm so excited.
Brought
Oh
one
my
for
God.
her. Yeah. We brought an extra one for her.
I'm gonna... Wait, is this over 100 mil? Oh, and I wouldn't put it in my luggage because it would explode.
Email it to her. So I think you could wash it down and give us your thought right here on what this like. By the
Fizzy
way,
cookie flavored? I didn't know Americans said fizzy.
fizzy drinks. They spelt flavored your way.
I actually have been using the U since middle school
Yeah.
because I wanted to be different.
All right, let us know what you think.
It smells like
Oreo.
Coke.
Not like Oreo, okay. Does it
Maybe there's
taste
a
like
chocolatey
Oreo?
flavor
No.
to it.
Have you had this?
She's had it. She's passed on the
doesn't look
message.
good.
And I decided I don't want to buy anymore.
Is it real?
That doesn't taste a thing like Oreo. It doesn't taste like anything. It just tastes like bad Coke.
I would be so annoyed if there was no Oreo flavor. I'd paid £1 for this.
As you may have gathered, this is not a sponsored portion of the video. Now, here's a question. I'd heard that Oreos themselves had made their way to Britain. Can you find them there?
Yes, everywhere.
We've got like double stuff. We've got Oreo.
Would you find that
I don't think so. There's too many different things involved for this to exist in Britain. British people get a bit put off by anything like this.
Yeah, well, feel free to finish the rest of it off while I awkwardly watch.
Oh, I'm not. That's not nice.
You don't want that? We'll leave it on the bench then. You're going to litter in my
Oh,
city?
No. I go out of my way to make sure I find a bin.
Okay, good.
Or a trash can.
We might as well throw in some Halloween candy. These are a new thing right now in the US. They're ghost-flavored Kit Kats. I don't know what that entails.
I've never eaten a ghost.
Maybe it'll go right through you. Let's try it again. This is not a sponsor for Kit Kat. I don't need to make that clear.
I think they're made by Hershey, aren't they?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Yes.
Yes, so that's a fun fact. Additionally, in the US, Kit Kats are made by Hershey. Everywhere else outside of the US, it's
Nestle.
made by Nestle.
Yeah.
That's why in Japan and all the other countries, they have cool flavors. But Hershey's is finally jumping on. Do you hate Hershey's as a Brit?
I don't have a deep hatred for Hershey at all.
It does taste...
I have tried Hershey's chocolate once, and I don't like the taste. I think Cadbury's tastes better. Like for me, my chocolate hierarchy is Lindt at the top, then Galaxy chocolate, then Cadbury's, and then Hershey. There's probably other brands. Girardelli's is really good too. Good subscriber of mine, Ron Lux, sent me a bunch of it. I'd say that is almost as good as Lindt.
tastes like sick sometimes.
Yeah, it can, especially if you throw up.
Yeah, but I haven't thrown up in a while. I just think of it Hershey's now. It's
Yeah,
fine,
I
right?
throw up due to the chocolate. Would you like a piece of whatever the hell this is? I don't know. What does it taste like?
It looks so weird. Orange.
Bit fake?
I like the bit in the middle, but the orange stuff is just not nice.
What does
Nah,
it taste like? It
doesn't
can't
look
taste like
natural.
Ghost. We don't know what that tastes like.
It just doesn't taste like anything.
So it does taste like Ghost then?
Oh, it's a bit white chocolatey. I wouldn't want any more.
I was going to offer you the entire packet. So you got into Chicago last night. What are your first impressions.
Chicago felt like a city that I've never seen before, but I inherently knew. Chicago kind of felt like what I as a kid imagined a city would be. You know, there's big skyscrapers all around, there's nice businesses on the ground floor, there's rail going through the city. I was a bit surprised that so many rail beams looked like they were so rusted they were gonna fall.
Yeah.
You know, that was a bit scary.
Yeah.
But I was just so impressed with the city. Unlike New York, there was no garbage anywhere.
Yeah.
It was all hidden away. So much green. I feel like New York, you gotta go to like Prospect Park, you gotta go to Central Park, that's it. This is here, there's another park down the way, there's so much green here. New York is like massive gray buildings and asphalt, and then
Although you have Central Park in the middle.
pockets of nature. Whereas Chicago has more nature just all over the place. And one of the best skylines I've ever seen.
It's a gorgeous skyline and
Gorgeous.
from multiple angles, isn't it? I do want to go back to what you said there about the trash, because it was a big eye-opener to me when I went to Philadelphia, actually. I think it was Philadelphia where
City of brotherly trash.
they got the trash on the sort of
The city of brotherly trash.
pavements outside of the
Oh
front
my
houses,
God.
whereas we put them in the
Big trash cans.
we put them in the big trash cans in the alleyways.
Oh, the dumpsters.
In the dumpsters, the skips. What is that all about?
I feel like New Yorkers specifically, they
Why, they just
don't
leave it?
defend the trash in a way. They're kind of like, yeah, it's just how it is, man. If you can't deal with it, you're not meant for New York. You gotta deal with the rats, you gotta deal with the trash. If you can't handle it, get out of New York. Why not clean it up?
Yeah.
So here's a really oddly sentimental question. Coming back here, does America feel like home to you?
No, like I do feel like when I visit America these days, it's more as visiting as a tourist in a way. Even when I visit my
Interesting.
home, it's not necessarily visiting my home as much as visiting it with a different perspective. Like once you move and leave for so long, you're no longer really a perfect fit in there.
Why is that? Have you changed? Have you changed, or is it changed? Or is it both?
Well, it's definitely both. There's so many bits that have stayed completely the same. Bits that I'm like, there's no way this woman that sells mini donuts at the Cowtown Rodeo Flea Market is still gonna be there after 30 years when I was a kid. Yeah, she's still there selling donuts. But on the other end, there's a lot more warehouses being built in my area that I'm a bit surprised with. Also, there's a lot of racism still. You know, obviously it's not like that's gonna be cured when I left. Like, Evan's gone, let's stop being racist. I don't know. But yeah, no, it just feels more like the culture isn't my own. So when I'm choosing things,
To be fair, 11 years in another country is a long, long time. Like, if any of you or me spent that long somewhere else, it's home at that point, isn't it? You know, that's such a long time.
at my local Wawa, I'm doing it as like pumpkin spice coffee at Wawa, as opposed to like, this is just how it is. I went to a drive-through in Ohio and I thought, standard experience, I'm just getting a Starbucks pumpkin spice. And as I'm going to pay for it, the woman then leans out to have the machine to tap, just looked me dead in the eyes and goes, "It says you can add a tip, but you don't have to." I'm in a drive-through for a pumpkin spice. I didn't know that the tipping culture had extended to drive-throughs, and I understand it's a problem because the service wage is so low here. So I understand the problem, but I hate that it's shoveled off onto me to feel guilty the rest of the day for looking a sad person in the eyes and going, "Not today." I'm
Like, I kind of don't
when
like
you're
that.
in a restaurant, do you forget to tip when you come here?
No, I worked as a waiter for 5 years at a Pizza Hut, and listen, I don't care where your accent's from, where you say you're from. If you don't tip me, I'm gonna be sad because I'm not gonna be able to pay for my school books.
Damn, they actually said that. Have any of you had someone say that to you? Like, you know, if you don't tip me, I'm not going to be able to pay rent. Something along those lines.
Personally think that they should be paying their waiters more, but also I'm not the one that's gonna tell them, "I'm sorry, you just spent all this time being really nice to me and I'm gonna stiff you."
Does that mean that would you tip in Britain? I mean,
No,
obviously they
I
get
do
paid
not
a living
like
wage.
that. It's actually growing in Britain a lot. There's a couple establishments now that they will put it on the bill, knowing there's no Brit that's going to be like, "Excuse me, can you remove this gratuity?"
Right.
They're all uncomfortable. British people sit for an hour rather than just ask for the bill. And so I've done it once because I went to a place in Liverpool that had the audacity of adding an extra £1 for a charity thing, and I went, "Can you remove
Yeah, that's cheeky. Like, if I want to donate to a charity, I'll do it,
that?"
you know.
And she went, "It's for people with like multiple sclerosis." And I went, "Well, it's also for a tax write-off for your company. I can donate on my own free will,
Exactly.
but you shouldn't just add it without my consent." Okay, if you don't want to donate to charity. I was like, "Why is this?" So yes, it is becoming a thing in Britain.
Yeah.
I do not like it, but I also think that as Brits, we should reject this American tradition.
What's a British tradition that you think Americans could either stand to reject or adopt?
Waiting in a queue.
Yeah.
Stop cutting the queue.
So after Chicago, what's next?
I'm actually leaving the US. I'm going through Detroit to try some pizza, and then I'm going to Toronto, and then heading back
Okay.
to Jersey to shoot some videos about baseball.
You're doing Detroit-style pizza? Interesting. That just happens to be my absolute favorite pizza.
Great video. Those two, I love the dynamic between them. They really bounced off each other well. Even though I'm not, like, I can't be too surprised that Evan sees America as, you know, no longer his home. It's still quite surprising to me, just because, you know, although he spent 10 years, I think 11 years in the UK, he still spent 22 years, you know, his first formative years from birth in America. And I imagine he's still got a lot of family in America, New Jersey, where I think he's from. But yeah, no, it's nice to hear that he sees London now as his home, and you know, we're happy to have him here. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoy my videos, please help me out by liking and subscribing.